Hey there everyone, Bhavin here, back again with another video. In this video we are going to learn about ionic 4 and what is ionic 4, right? So we have already started our ionic 4 web series. If you still not check it out, our first episode, then go ahead back into our YouTube channel and then you can see that's part first. So right now this is the second part that we are going to publish, and day by day we are just update with this ionic 4 web series, right? So in this video we are going to learn about what is ionic 4. So ionic is, everyone know that this is the one kind of the framework that you can use for creating a mobile applications, for hybrid mobile applications, right? So in this video we're going to learn about the brief history of ionic 4 and the previous year, that from ionic 1 to ionic 4, that how many changes and what are the progressions that's ionic team that happened, right? So we have to look each and everything one by one. So let's get started with ionic 4, right? So before that we go ahead with these things, let me clear about that what is the basic tool that in ionic 4 is built up, right? So for that we have already created one presentation on it. So basically ionic 4 built with the three technology like HTML5, CSS3 and JavaScript, right? So this look like a strange for you guys because that is the web technology and I'm talking about a mobile app, but that is true, right? Because the ionic is work with browser based applications, right? So it's create a web view in your mobile applications, and inside the web view it load the web component and show as like, and feel is look like that you are using a mobile applications, real mobile applications, right? So basically the ionic is work and create based on the HTML, CSS and JavaScript. This is main three language that ionic use for creating hybrid mobile applications. So now the second question is that what kind of the application that we can create with ionic 4, right? So let's we can create a progressive web app, we can create Android and iOS web app, and we can create a desktop web app as well with ionic applications, right? So we can say that everything that we can develop if we want in ionic 4 and whatever the upcoming version that's coming out in future, right? So let's get one by one that what kind of the production based applications that you can create with ionic 4 is that a progressive web app, ionic and Android, iOS and Electron. Electron is basically desktop applications that we can discuss in later in this slide. So first we can take that what is PWA, like is progressive web app, right? So progressive web app is recently introduced by ionic from 6 months back when this ionic 4 is released. So basically a progressive web app is enhance your web apps to look and feel is like native web, right? So basically a progressive web is like a native web. It look like native web but not exactly a native app. It's a web applications but open in a browser, and it's feel like we are using a native mobile applications. And one more features that the progressive web apps provide, that it's reliable and very faster, and it's also work in offline mode as well. If you still not have a internet connection right now in your mobile applications, but you still work and connect with and interact and perform your transactions with the progressive web app within the offline mode. Once you get the internet connection, so sync up with the server and you will be getting up to date with server as well, right? So that is one of the most important features of the progressive web app, because in certain rural area that the internet connection is not well, so at the time we can access those informations offline as well, right? And the third most important feature that progressive web app is that a fast response and quick user actions, right? It's give a very fast rendering and quick user actions because it's offline, so there is no need to certain and barrier with the internet connections in this progressive web app, and feels and look like it's a native application. So if you are work with the progressive app and if you show this app at the first time, you cannot say that this is not a mobile application. Each and every component and each and every look and feel that also same as a progressive web app. And even right now the Flipkarts and Amazons as a big used e-commerce and giant company, they also use the mobile applications into the progressive web app, so that they can easily interact with the customers and very fast rendering that provides, right? So that's it there from this progressive web app. I can create a separate video with detailed descriptions, and I will show you in my screen that what is exactly the progressive web app and how it's exactly work with the real example, so you will get more idea about it. So in this second phase, that is the Electron. That is one of the cool features that Ionic actually is. Electron is a different framework, but if you can integrate Ionic with this Electron framework, and you can create desktop applications. Yes, desktop applications. You can create a desktop application for the Linux, for Mac OS and Windows. So you can say that you don't have to learn about .NET and Mac for Windows, Linux. For that you can create any kind of the applications, desktop applications, using the Electron frameworks. And one good thing that we are using a VS Code text editor for upcoming in this web series, and that VS Code, which is a Microsoft products and which is a built upon Electron frameworks, right? So this is one of the most important showcase for us, that VS Code is built upon the Electron framework. So we can predict our thing like VS Code is one of the cool and very lightweighted text editor and very advanced text editor. So we can create our many kind of the applications with the Electron as well, right? So good thing is that Electron also use HTML and CSS and JavaScript for creating this desktop applications, and Electron is a totally open source framework, so we can use these frameworks without any without any single penny, and we can obviously deploy a production based applications as well, right? And the third main important point is that it's cross platform. It's work every 3 platform right now in the market, like Mac, Windows and Linux. So this is the use case of Electrons, and we can use Ionic inside the Electron and use Ionic component inside the Electron frameworks, right? And the third and most important point that we are going to learn about Ionic core platforms, right? So in the previous slide that we learned that what kind of the applications that we can develop with Ionic for, but in this slide specifically, we are going to learn about Ionic platform, core platform, that's a build Ionic, right? So for that, Ionic is the web component. Web component means like that the component that's run on the browser, right? Those component which create on the HTML, CSS and JavaScript, right? So Ionic create a variety of component like button component, text box component, and other toggle component, alert component, every component which is built by the Ionic. And that's component you can use everywhere. If you want to use a desktop applications, if this component, it's very flexible with each and every languages. Like if you want a React application, then you can integrate directly in React Native and in Vue.js and everywhere. So Ionic is a standalone library that can work everywhere. You just have to inject in your applications, right? So Ionic is a web component, but if you can also create your custom and your needed component, is like we create in Angular, like we have create our own component for customizing our own features, right? So in Ionic also provide that kind of the feature. You can create your own component use inside your applications. And the second main workflow, that is a capacitor and the Cordova. And you all know that if you want to create a mobile application, you must have to create some kind of the camera features and like native device feature you can access with your applications. And this Ionic is totally browser based applications. It's create a web view. So you might have questions that how we can connect with the software, in the hardware of our devices, as like a camera and our sensors and our flashlight and everything are dependent on our mobile hardware. So how we interact with that? So this is a bridge between a capacitor and Cordova, is a bridge between the Ionic web and your device API. Like you have a camera, which is your hardware, and the ionic is a web-based component. So capacitor and the Cordova both are the bridge. Its work is like a bridge between your two camera and your ionic projects, right? So previously Cordova used for this ionic, but after the capacitor is basically ionic products, ionic framework, open source. It's basically, we can say that upper set version of a upper set version of the Cordova. Capacitor totally built upon the progressive web app, and also each and every features that can work with the web API and your native mobile device frameworks, right? And we can work for web to native mobile. We can use the native mobile feature inside our ionic platform with the capacitor, right? So the third main thing that we're going to learn in this framework, in the core platform, that's basically ionic use primarily Angular CLI for the primary backend framework, but right now Angular provides such a variety of features that you can use a Vue.js and React.js as well inside the backend, so you don't have any dependency and understanding like you must have to learn Angular. You can, if you know the React, then also a good thing that you can integrate ionic inside your projects and work those features inside your applications, right? So Angular CLI is one of the primarily ionic come with this Angular features, and this Angular CLI, the build workflow is the same as like in Angular works, and also live reloading and other features that is provided by Angular, the same features that come upon this framework with this ionic platforms. And this is it, that's it from this video, because we are cover most of the thing with the ionic platform that's provided. And one more thing, that right now is ionic 4 point something version is that, but ionic is rapidly update the version, and every time they release a new version with the new features. So I keep updated you each and every features that going to be released in future as well. But meanwhile, whenever you're watching this video, just open the official website of the ionic and check it out, the which version they are currently right now, because might be happen that I'm going in this tutorial with ionic 4.xyz versions, and when you watch this video, ionic will like 5 or 6 versions. Ionic reach into the 5 or 6 versions at a time. Might be some of the features are, some of the command are deprecated, or some of are the new introduced. So just bear with this documentations work, and just connected with us. We will provide each and every update about the ionic and ionic 4 frameworks, right? So I hope this video is a little bit longer than, so I'm going to wrap up this video. If you have any questions about ionic 4, just use this comment section below of this video, and I will be answer each and every questions of your comment, right? So thank you for watching for this video. We'll catch up into this third video of our ionic 4 series, and inside this fourth video we actually cloning our creating our first hello world applications inside the ionic 4. So bye bye and have a nice day.